Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Two Ball Studios. I'm hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life. And of course, you just are here in every single Friday around 10 a.m. Eastern time to have the announcement of our top dog of the week. And our top dog of the week this week is my guy, Cole Murphy. And that is because I have been praying and hoping and wanting the best for him all the way through. And he has amazing news. He's wearing the sweatshirt for that right now. And our top dog of the week is a Panther, a Michigan Panther, USFL, as they are here in their season. They have come to bring us more professional football, which is a beautiful thing. And their new kicker, Cole Murphy, Syracuse Orange alum, and a friend of mine is here today, honored as the top dog of the week, and also, fittingly, in my opinion, the top Panther of the week. Cole, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you. How are you?
Doing very well. And listen, I'm so excited because I remember, I'm talking with you in my car. We did a show where we did a Zoom and you were in your car and just, catching up with you and speaking about your hopes and your dreams, and you're doing this and that, but you're still training. You weren't giving up on your desire to play professionally. So just bring me into, never ceasing on your dreams, keeping yourself prepared, and the whole notion of if you're ready, you don't have to get ready.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the past year, maybe 8 months or so, I've been just training like crazy, working with all my guys that I've been training for the last couple of years, and I've been really just staying tough. I mean, knowing that you can get a phone call at any moment. I've kind of modified my training. I've modified some of the things I've added in, taken out, and overall, I think it's been really beneficial. I mean, I started working with the sports psychologist for the Rams. She's been really, really helpful. And yeah, I mean, just at the end of the day, knowing that as long as I'm doing the right things, good things are going to happen afterwards.
And that's the thing. What do you feel has gotten you here? And I know you mentioned that, you've adjusted some things, you've done some different things in your training and whatnot. So what can you say about, those pieces that you adjusted, took out, put in that you feel have been beneficial to getting you where you are?
I think a lot of it comes down to training quality versus quantity. After leaving college, I kind of became a quantity guy where I would go out and I knew, okay, if I'm training 3 days a week this week, I need to get that full amount of reps in. I need to train a ton to make sure I'm getting in that full training experience.
Yeah.
And so, when I was driving down to Carlsbad all the time and I was working with John Carney, I used to feel like I needed to get like 60, 80 reps a day to feel like I really did what I needed to do to go down there. Cause it's a 2+ hour drive each way. And in the last 8 months, I've learned, okay, I can cut the reps back and I can start working on sticking through my routine. I can do some more stuff on air. I can lift in different ways so that I'm not straining myself quite so hard, and I can actually train smarter rather than training harder. And actually has in the last 8 months produced way better results.
And you talk about training smarter rather than harder. For life in general, people talk about that all the time, and I had to learn that, right? Work smarter and not necessarily harder. Like, I was running myself to a place where it was not healthy, and I was doing a ton of work, but it was just kind of like, your brain just feeling like you're going to blow up, and you needed to be smart and be more healthy. How did you learn to transition in that way? And what can you say to people that, are training and out there doing everything that they can, and they're working really hard, but they're not necessarily working as smart? Because you get to that breaking point. I mean, I got to that point where it's like, hey, I'm doing all this work and it's good work, but I have to find a healthier way to do this. So I'd love for you to speak a little bit deeper on that, because I know personally how important it is to make sure you're taking care of yourself while you're also out there going after what you want.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think it sometimes comes down to, short-term versus long-term goals. Do I want to train and be in a place where I can be called at any moment and be able to go and flat out and be completely fine, whether it's in the USFL, the NFL, or for a job interview, or for really anything in life. Um, I think if you plan everything accordingly, you can actually measure out exactly how many reps you need to get kicking wise. So now, like when I go out there, if I'm training 3 days a week or even 2 days a week, sometimes I can actually go in and I can go, okay, if I'm training 2 days a week this month, how many reps do I need to actually believe that I have done everything I need to do in order to make sure that I'm comfortable that if I get a phone call, I can go out there and within, 10 to 15 reps warming up, I'm good to go. And that includes, not going crazy hard in the weight room. It means, doing the right exercises, working on balance, working on flexibility, making sure that I am at my peak performance at all times. I mean, I at one point I was training so hard all the time that I felt like I was at 100% when I would go out there, and in reality, I was at like 75, 80%, and I was running myself into the ground all the time because I was like, oh, I need to be ready. And once I started meeting with my sports psychologist and I was talking with her a bunch, she kind of took me through the numbers and she just broke it down. She's like, do you really think this many reps per week or per month is beneficial? Because all of a sudden, every day that you're not training, you're exhausted. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to work. You don't want to train other guys. You don't want to do anything. Whereas if you cut the reps in half, all of a sudden you feel good 24/7. You can go out there, you're satisfied with the work that you got, and you can train smart, and you can go and work with other guys and not feel drained whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it's about making those adjustments. And the whole point of you staying ready and staying prepared, how did you mentally do that? Because you're chasing your dreams, right? You want to make them a reality, but it gets frustrating because you're in control of what you do, but you're not in control of getting the phone call, right? You can't make people call you, can't make people bring you in. So how did you mentally get through all of this? I mean, you played in college at Syracuse. You did a tremendous job there. You left a huge mark, and you lie in the record books there. You have your place in Syracuse special teams history. And at the same time, then you had an opportunity with the Arizona Cardinals and the NFL. You and I did a show when that opportunity came about. So you've seen different things and you've had different moments. How did you stay mentally strong and mentally tough to continue to train and continue to say, hey, I didn't get a phone call today, but I'm going to go out and train. I didn't get a phone call for the last 3 months, but I'm going to go out and do this. I'm going to watch this film. I'm going to work on my technique. I'm going to change a few things here. I'm going to make sure I'm smart in these moments. I'm going to make sure that I get more rest, or I do this with my diet. What kept you mentally in the game when you didn't get the phone call?
I always had something in mind, whether it was a goal or a certain date that I knew I needed to be ready by, whatever it was. I had something where I knew that when I was training, I thought, okay, I have a combine on this day, which is 6 weeks from now, which means I have to be X% better every single week going into that day. Or like another great example was the USFL Combine. That was in, I believe, early March. And I was like, okay, I need to be ready to go before that date, because when I get that phone call, I'm going to be flying out in the next week or so. And just always figuring out that there is a goal in mind before you go and you start training, that keeps you down your lane, because you've got something that you're aiming for. It's the same idea like when you're in school. If you're just learning and you don't have a test coming up, or if you don't have something that you're specifically working on, it gets boring, it gets stale, there's no purpose behind it, because you're not trying to get to the next level, you're not trying to get to the next challenge. So for me, that's always my biggest thing. I'm always looking forward to the next combine, the next Zoom workout, the next draft for new leagues, all that kind of stuff.
Speaking here with Cole Murphy, a Syracuse Orange kicker alum who has an opportunity now signing with the Michigan Panthers and on the roster here for the USFL. What can you say about how football has evolved here in America, right? We have the NFL, but the USFL is here in its reality. It's existed before, but now here's a new existence. There will be the reemergence of a third iteration of the XFL. There's the CFL, what we knew as the Arena Football League is now, I believe, the NAF. So we still have the arena leagues. We have the CFL, the USFL, the XFL, the NFL, and we have, the FCF, fan controlled football and whatnot. So what can you say about where football currently is in North America when we include Canada, that it's not just the NFL anymore?
I think you're seeing a lot more opportunities for guys that haven't had their shot yet to go in there and make plays, get good film, and ultimately be seen to eventually go to the NFL. I mean, for right now, the NFL is viewed as the gold standard. And really for them, their farming system is college. There's no other way for them to get players. I mean, you see maybe one guy a year, two guys a year come out of somewhere in Germany or somewhere in England or somewhere in Australia. And there's really no other way to go about it other than going through the college ranks. And I think now with a lot of these other leagues like the XFL and, for right now, the USFL, I think the USFL is going to eventually grow and become a very good competition or even partner with the NFL. It's an opportunity for these to get good reps. It's a good opportunity for them to get the knowledge, the strength, the maturity to be able to go on and play in these other leagues. And I think that's kind of how it should be viewed overall. I mean, really every league should be like that. You're trying to get to the top level possible. And in order to do that, you need to keep training, playing games, working on your tackling, working on schemes, just getting smarter overall with football. And I think these are the best ways to do it.
Yeah, and like you said, you think that, the USFL will continue to evolve and whatnot. What makes you believe that, this league, this USFL is going to stick? What makes you have faith in their model?
Well, I think part of it is that they're owned and operated by Fox, so they've already got the entire TV model built into it. I mean, really all the whole thing is based around the TV market. I mean, you've got the United by Football show, which is kind of like their version of Hard Knocks. You've got all the time you see these guys getting different interviews and all this great stuff that's all incorporated with Fox, and I know they're also doing stuff with NBC. So I think that's a huge part of it. So you've actually got a TV network backing it, so that it constantly is going to be shown on TV, and you're going to get more and more fans throughout the country. In addition, I mean, you could tell right now, just when you watch some of the games, there's a lot of fans already here, and we're only in one city. And I can only imagine when we start going to Michigan, to New Jersey, to Tampa Bay, or to New Orleans, that you're going to start to see a bigger fan base growing and growing and growing. And, in addition to, we've got a lot of cool technology. I don't know if you've seen a lot of the games, but they have the cool drone footage where these guys are actually flying manned drones, and you see live views of what's going on the plays. So they've got a lot of good things going for them. And yeah, I mean, I think they have a lot of the right pieces in place, but, historically, a lot of these leagues have not done well. So they've got to keep that momentum going.
So you think that ultimately, with their connection with Fox Sports right off the bat and NBC, and making sure that their games are on TV and there's this prime time placement, that's already started off with a positive model, that you think instead of, starting and then trying to get a network on, that they really jumped off the league by saying, I mean, hey, look it, we're going to be, and I was looking at, the game, what channel they were on. I was like, okay, every single game is on a strong network. Every single game is like right in front of your face. So you think that ultimately, and I agree with you, that was such a good way to start the model. Is there something else? I mean, you talked about the fan base. How do you see the fan base? Because we see these great angles in the games and different things in the games, but then we look to the stands and it doesn't look like there's a lot of fans in the stands. So what makes you say that, you really see this fan base? What are we not seeing? What do we not know about the fan bases right now?
I think the biggest thing is when you go and you watch a lot of these games, for let's say when you watch like the Michigan Panthers playing against Tampa Bay on Friday, you're not going to have a lot of people from either area coming to watch the game. And I think that's why you're not going to have a ton of fans there. But when you go and you watch like the Birmingham Stallions, who, they're undefeated and technically they're the home team at basically every single game. Every game that they play at is pretty full, and it's pretty awesome to see how many people are actually coming out to watch those games. And I think that's the biggest indicator, not necessarily that every single game is full, but the one home team in the stadium is typically filling up the stand the entire time. And I will say too, I mean, Birmingham has a love of football. I mean, they used to host the Iron Bowl. UAB is here. They've got a lot of sports background and they love football. But when they start going to their home cities, I think you're going to see a similar build, if not better, actually, because you'll actually have fans that have already watched it for a year, and then they go, okay, this football is pretty good. Yeah, I don't mind going to watch them play in April or May or June.
And that's the thing, like you said, the USFL playing their entire regular season in Birmingham, Alabama. I mean, I would imagine that this is a helpful way of, in the world that we live in with the pandemic and whatnot, to have some type of controlled bubble, to have all the teams here. But, and I think and that's why I wanted to talk about the fan side of it, because I think it's a misconception. Like you said, if all the games are in Birmingham, Alabama, you don't have the home team, Michigan, you don't have the Michigan fans in Michigan. You don't have the Tampa fans in Tampa. You don't have the Pitt fans in Pitt. So, what we see on television isn't an adequate representation. Like or dislike the model that it's all being played in Birmingham, Alabama for this first season. And I mean, do you think it's good as far as maybe controlling that bubble and I would imagine too, controlling the cost as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge save in terms of cost. I think that's one of the big things that a lot of the newer leagues tend to mess up. And I think the AAF was actually one of the biggest ones. They had this grand scheme of what was going to happen. And then all of a sudden the numbers started to pile up and they go, oh, this is really expensive. We can't do that. And I think that's why they're doing everything all in one location, travel costs and hotel costs and different stadium fees every single week. It piles up and up and up. Whereas if you do it in one spot, especially for a first year league, it keeps the cost to not to a minimum, but it's controllable and you know exactly what you're in for. You can't all of a sudden be told, hey, we're going to up. When you signed it, you know exactly what we're getting. So I think they figuring out what the numbers were going to be before they even started. And I think that's what you need when you first start any league.
Yeah, and I think taking a look at some of this here, games at Protective Stadium, as well as having some games played. Well, Protective Stadium, first and foremost, a 45,000 seat stadium downtown. It's the home of the University of Alabama at Birmingham Blazers, UAB, who are in Conference USA, who will eventually be in the American Athletic Conference. And some games also played at historic Legion Field. Training facilities, as well as office space, event staff, and other amenities are there to operate from Birmingham, Alabama. I do want to make a note here. Edward Hartman, USFL Executive Vice President, Business Operations, said, quote, "We appreciate the tremendous support and commitment from the city of Birmingham, Jefferson County, Birmingham Jefferson Convention Complex, the Birmingham Park and Recreation Board, and the Greater Birmingham Convention and Visitors Bureau. Birmingham is one of America's most dynamic and welcoming cities with world-class facilities, highlighted by the state-of-the-art Protective Stadium, now home to the USFL. Located downtown, it's within walking distance to the hotels where players will reside and many other amenities. We can't wait to make football magic in the Magic City on April 16th, because it's obviously going into the season, when the hometown Stallions take on the Generals to kick off the inaugural USFL season." Alabama State Senator Jabo Wagoner said, "Birmingham is the football capital. Therefore, it's only fitting that the new USFL chose it to host the league's inaugural season. Birmingham's facilities to accommodate athletes, coaches, and fans are new and second to none. And I'm proud of the way our community leaders recognize the benefits and national exposure this opportunity provides. Birmingham is a city with many positives aligned for a bright future, and the USFL's decision is clearly reflective of that direction," end quote. So, a lot of positive words coming in here, a lot of great stuff here. And, I think obviously, I mean, it's great for the Birmingham team, and it gives, it makes everybody's, home is their home, but really it's Birmingham's home. So there is a benefit to that. Would you like to see, since you play for one of the other teams in the Michigan Panthers, would you like to see each, if they're going to try and work this model as they grow, that next year they play the whole season in Michigan, and then the year after that they play it down, in Tampa Bay and whatnot? Would you like to see that model? Because there's an accent right now on Birmingham, Alabama, a great thing for the state of Alabama, for Birmingham, huge for UAB because they get to promote the heck out of their facilities, and a great perk for the American Athletic Conference, who's close by in Irving, Texas, in their headquarters, and they get to boast of the fact that the USFL is playing at the home of one of the teams that they just, are going to be bringing in for all sports, including football, into the American Athletic Conference. So there's a lot of great going on for Birmingham, but would you like to see the model kind of pay it back to each city and then say, okay, you know what? Now we're going to Michigan. Now we're going to Tampa. Now we're going to Pittsburgh. What are your thoughts on that?
I think right now, I think the plan, and I don't know for sure, but I think the plan is after this first year, every team will go back to their home state and we'll kind of play like a normal season where everybody travels everywhere. Um, I think it'd be interesting to have a hub city in every single year, but I just don't know if it would work out necessarily, because then you would have that same issue where all of a sudden one team is the they're the fan favorite over and over and over, depending on the year, obviously. And I think it's the same kind of issue that the NFL was running into with Tampa Bay and LA hosting their own Super Bowls the last couple of years, where all of a sudden it was 90% one team and 10% the other team. That's one thing I think that after the first year they're going to go and make sure that every single team is represented by their own city or state.
Yeah, and I think obviously playing this for a year, lowering the cost, doing it at a central place, doing it in the South, which it's God family football, and so to have all of that together, it's a huge help. But I think, yeah, obviously you want to be able to send it home. I think it's hard for the fans to get around the teams that they don't get to see, but at the same time, maybe it'll make them hungry. And fans might turn around and say, okay, well, a lot of leagues tried to start, they tried to come back, they tried to go a year, they didn't make it. If they see the USFL strong after this, and then all the teams get to go home, then hopefully that'll send people there. And listen, it's at a time where there's no football on. It's at a time where people are jonesing for college football. They're jonesing for the NFL. So fans are going to show up. They're going to give it a shot. They're going to give it an opportunity. It's a way to cut costs to start off year one, but I think you got to go home. I mean, if you wanted to do each host city, like I said, if they bounce around and whatnot, then I mean, if you expand the league, you're going to be chasing forever. And you got to have your Michigan fans in Michigan, and you got to have your Pitt fans in Pitt, and so on and so forth, in New Jersey and whatnot. I do want to make note of this because we talked about this. NBC Sports and Fox Sports both have multi-year agreements with the USFL. So even though it's a new league, they have multi-year agreements, which shows the hope for the future and what the USFL is investing. And it puts them as the official media partners, committed to carrying all 43 regular and postseason games. The league will release a comprehensive television. They have the comprehensive television schedule. Now, NBC Sports is presenting 22 USFL games this year on NBC, which has 9, USA Network, which has 9, and Peacock with 4. And Fox Sports will carry 22 games split between Fox, which has 14, and Fox Sports 1, which has 8. So huge on this. It'll give the USFL 22 broadcast windows, more than any regularly scheduled sport in the first half of the year. And obviously there's 8 teams for those that need to know: the Birmingham Stallions, the Houston Gamblers, New Orleans Breakers, Tampa Bay Bandits in the South Division, and the North Division with the Pittsburgh Maulers, New Jersey Generals, Philadelphia Stars, and the Michigan Panthers that Cole Murphy is a part of. So, exciting to see this. Each team playing a 10-game schedule, followed by semifinals between the top 2 teams in each division and a championship game between the divisional winners. I like the model. I like what they're doing. I love that NBC and Fox are behind it, and it's for multi-year deals. And I know that you just got signed here recently, and this is your first interview, exclusive first interview, I should say, since you signed, which I'm honored that you let me do this. But you just got here. You just got onto this team. You got to Birmingham, Alabama. You're with the Michigan Panthers. What's it like to be on campus, so to speak? Because they're putting you guys up in hotels, but all the teams are here. So all 8 teams have converged on one city. What is that experience like? Because I know you said that you know some guys and didn't even know that they were in the USFL, and you went and got on the elevator and you're like, hey, what are you doing here? And it's, oh, I'm playing for this team. So what's it like to have 8 teams all together where you get to live in this world that's very unique to the sport of football, where, collegiately, professionally, it's very rare that you're going to all be in the same place, where you're bumping into, guys from all these teams and you're going out to grab dinner, and this might be a team you're going to see in 3 weeks. This team you're playing tomorrow. It has to be a very unique campus feel to have the entire USFL in one place. And let's see if can you hear us? Oh, we just cut out for a second here. What did you say?
League was in over, like you said. Oh, sorry. It is really interesting. It kind of reminds me of the spring league that I was in this last year up in Indianapolis, where, like you just said, we're all in the same hotel, we're all together, all of our dining areas the same, all of our treatment areas the same, we all share the same weight room. It's pretty interesting, and I really do like it, because like you said, there's so many people that I've played with in the AAF, in the spring league, with the Cardinals, that I didn't know if I was ever going to see again, that all of a sudden I'm seeing every day, and I'm going to be seeing them for the next 6 to 8 weeks. And it's pretty interesting. And I love to see it, because, like you said, it's a weird dynamic, because, some guys are on my team, some guys aren't, but either way, we're all here with the same goal in mind. We're all here to play football. We're all here to get good film. We're all playing pro ball again. Really, there have been a lot of guys that I've known for years that now I get to see all the time. I get to spend some time with them, and we get to train together, and kind of, just like the old days.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, you have teams, and obviously, you have heated battles, and everybody wants to win and keep their roster spot, and they want to win a championship. So how is that? Because essentially you're in the same city, same hotel with 7 rivals right now. So how does that dynamic work?
It's not too bad. I think we're still early enough in the season to where, tensions aren't too high. You don't see, there's no brawls going on in the hotel.
Yeah.
But I can imagine as the season gets a little bit further on, you're going to start to see things heat up a little bit. But right now it's pretty good.
Bring me into how it all happened for you, how you ended up with the Michigan Panthers.
Sure. So last Wednesday night, I got a phone call at about 9 o'clock at night. And it was Steve Kaiser, who is our GM. And I had talked with Steve before, and I had met him over at our USFL Combine that we had in Carlsbad with John Carney. And so I already had his number and everything. So Steve called me, and I was like, "Hey, Steve, what's going on? How are you?" And he said, "I'm good. How fast can you get here?" And I originally was like, "Well, obviously tomorrow, because it's almost 10 o'clock at night." And within 24 hours, I was already in Birmingham. I had to lay over in Denver and then Atlanta, and then I actually drove from Atlanta to Birmingham, and it was pretty incredible. I never would have thought it was going to be that quick. And I had always been told, when you play pro ball, it's like you get a phone call and you're on a flight usually within about 3 hours. And I got lucky. I got to sleep a little bit in between. But yeah, literally within 24 hours, I was 3/4 of the way across the country prepping for a game the next day.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, it's so quick. And have you gotten used to that at all? Playing in the spring league, playing in the the AAF, and as well as in the NFL. And now the USFL, have you gotten used to the late night phone call? How quick can you be here? Okay, well, I can't come tonight, but like you said, I could be there tomorrow, hop on a plane or jump in my car or whatever you got to do. How used to it are you to, make a potential life-changing move in 12 hours, 10 hours, 6 hours?
I don't think it's anything that you can really get used to. It's one of those things where when it happens, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to get ready to go. And luckily, because I had been preparing to actually get picked up in the draft, and which I didn't, but I'd had a bag packed for probably 3-4 weeks. And the funniest part too is as we were getting ready and getting everything to getting ready to go, I had not realized until I got here, but throughout the weeks I'd kind of pulled out, oh, I need this pair of tights for training, I need this shirt for training, I need this, I need that. And so when I got here, actually I was missing a lot of stuff that I needed because I had to prepare so quickly. But yeah, I don't think it's something you really ever get used to. I mean, maybe you will, maybe I will eventually, but hopefully not. Hopefully, I get one phone call and then I'm there for my whole career. That would be optimal.
So what's it like to be with the Michigan Panthers and to be around them, since getting that phone call last week? What has the experience been like to be around this specific organization, and kind of what your first impression is?
It's been great. I mean, I really I like this group of guys. They're tight knit. They've been here obviously a lot longer than I have. They've been here for about 7 weeks, and I've been here for 5-6 days.
Yeah.
But they're a good group of guys. They work really hard, and they're good ball players. I mean, that's one of those things that when you look at it, I looked at our record and we were 1-3, and I showed up here and I'm like, these guys are 1-3. These guys are really good. And it's pretty incredible to see that between all three of their losses total, they've lost by 10 points combined between 3 games. And I mean, if you go and you look back, I mean, certain circumstances have happened to where you could see why they've lost, but they have so many good pieces together, and you can see why we're going to be a good team. I mean, I think the next 6-8 weeks we could probably go undefeated. I really, really believe that because we're tight knit. We play good ball, and these guys they're massive,
And your head coach, speaking here with Cole Murphy, a Syracuse Orange kicker alum, also played in the NFL, the spring league in the AAF, and has now signed with the Michigan Panthers, as we are here with the exclusive first conversation since joining the USFL. Your head coach, no big deal, is Jeff Fisher, a man who has had experience with the Philadelphia Eagles, San Francisco 49ers, Houston Oilers / Tennessee Titans, and the St. Louis, Los Angeles Rams. A lot of people know him for the Titans and Rams connection. And, I mean, just what you could say about the coaching staff in general. I'm sure you want to make a note about your, special teams coach as well. But to start here with Jeff Fisher, and then, take it wherever you want to take it as far as the coaching staff goes, but just what it means to you to be a part of a team with a gentleman who knows how to lead you to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really great having Jeff so far as our coach. You could tell he knows everything about football. He lives it, he breathes it. This is his life. He's pretty funny. He's one of those guys that, like, when you look at him, he doesn't give off that like really jokester vibe, but he's pretty funny. And I've really just enjoyed being around him. And obviously because there's a lot of different meetings and practice times where coaches are involved in different things. I haven't been able to spend too much time with him, but I've really really enjoyed it. And then Coach Jeff Imamura is our special teams coach, and I mean, you could tell already he knows a lot about special teams, and he knows a lot about, just a lot about football. I mean, he's been with the Vikings, he's been with the Rams, he's been all over the place. And he really, really knows his stuff. And it's been really good just to kind of talk with him and learn from him. And actually, one of the first mornings I was here, we sat down and we had breakfast together, and we were talking about how we both know Ryan Longwell, who kicked for the Vikings and the Packers. We both know Chris Kluwe. We both know Joe Carney. We've worked with so many people in common. And it was kind of nice to kind of see, oh, okay, like we have people in common that we know. We can just shoot the breeze and really know, we're going to be okay. We're on the same team, and we've found the right guys.
Yeah, and that's, and like you said, having that connection on Jeff Imamura, who has, like you mentioned, Panthers, the Rams, the Vikings in college, Vanderbilt, Saginaw Valley State, Northern Arizona, and TCU experience here for the special teams and defensive backs coach for the Michigan Panthers. So you're a Panther now. You're a part of this. You're here. Has it hit you yet that you're back in the pros?
Oh yeah, I've been prepared for a long time. I'm excited to be here. I really am, and I can't wait to get out there on Friday. It's going to be a great game. We're playing Tampa Bay, and yeah, I'm excited for this win.
Yeah, and as we're here, the game in just a few hours from this top dog of the week, a special exclusive first conversation with Cole Murphy since signing on with the Michigan Panthers. So you have this opportunity, Cole. Before I let you go, why do you think? I know we've spoken about different things that you've done, but specifically to this opportunity, why do you feel like the dominoes fell and you have an opportunity with the Michigan Panthers? What is it about you and what you've done that you think has materialized this dream and goal into a reality and an opportunity for you to build some longevity as a pro?
Um, I don't know. Sometimes I really feel like I don't deserve it. I feel like I've put in all the work on all the hours for years, really. And sometimes I still kind of think, wow, do I deserve this? If I put in enough for it? But somebody's pushing for me. I don't know exactly who, but there's things beyond my control, and I'm really grateful, and I'm just ready to get back to work.
Yeah, and I think it's an awesome. What are you most looking forward to? Like, what is on your mind? I mean, ice water in the veins. We've talked about, being a kicker and all the things that you do and the nuances and the intricate pieces to it that people never see. But what are you most excited about? Like, what gets you jazzed up on game day?
Honestly, I don't think anything does.
Okay.
As
All
a
right.
kicker, I mean, you've got to be that guy that you don't want to be jacked up. You don't want to be that guy that's getting crazy. When you look at your kicker and he's going to hit a game winner, you don't want to see him with his eyes wide open like he's a maniac. You want to see a guy that almost looks like he's half asleep. He should be in control. He should be poised, and he should know what he's going out there to do. And yeah, I mean, I that's kind of become one of my goals when I go out there for a field goal. I don't want to be the wide-eyed guy who looks scared. I want to look like I'm in control because I am in control.
I am ecstatic for you. The first one that you get to put through the uprights, have you already seen it in your mind?
A million times, a million times. I've run through that stuff night after night after night for a long time, and the only thing that changes is just the background.
What does the world need to know about Cole Murphy?
That I'm coming, that I'm ready, and I've been ready for a long time, and I hope they're ready for me.
And I am ecstatic and so much looking forward to this moment. You got to say hi to somebody who is from the upstate Central New York area. I grew up here, went to my alma mater, Christian Brothers Academy. That is the running back on your team, one of the running backs on your team, Mr. Stevie Scott the third. So make sure that you let him know that I said what's up. He went to Indiana, so big ups to him and all that he's doing. And again, showing how small the world of sports is. But I mean, Cole, I am so happy for you. To me, like I said, when you when I saw the news and then I texted you and I'm like, please tell me that this is true. Like, is this right? And you're just like, yep, we're doing it. Like, it's one of the greatest feelings. I'm a Michigan Panther fan because you're wearing a Michigan Panther sweatshirt right now. So go out there, do your thing. And I am so much looking forward to this being the beginning of the next chapter, new era, something great. And I'm going to hold you to it, brother. I hope that you have great longevity. Keep in touch. Have a great time. And you better, when you're kicking all these field goals and doing all these things, game winners and whatnot, I'm just telling you, my studio better get a Cole Murphy jersey because I'm going to be harassing you for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's gonna look good too. We'll put it in a frame.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, I'm very proud of you. Say hello to the family and God bless with everything. You are the true testament of working hard, believing in yourself, and staying ready so you don't have to get ready. So, congratulations.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.